these are 5 reasons why your beats might not be there yet. And before you listen to me telling you how trash your beats are, just want to let you know that the first rule in music is that there are no actual rules. What I would do if I was you is learn from many different sources, listen to many different opinions, and then formulate your own. So like that, when you listen to someone like me, you can be like, okay, this is good, I'll take this, I might not take that. And then you kind of formulate your own opinion, and you're not a sheep, you know. And this goes to like any discipline out there in the world and in any realm. This is how knowledge should work, in my opinion. So the first reason why your beats might sound whatever is that your melodies and chords are not in a scale. All right, so when you're first starting out, you for sure just gonna go on the piano and you're just trying to figure out the next note that will sound good with the previous note. And you know, if you want to like accelerate your beat making skills, I would definitely start learning about scales. And the scale technically is a combination of notes that sound good together. I would start making beats in the minor natural right away, or the major if you want your beats to sound happy. But the minor natural is going to give you that like kind of hard sound, but you can also make it sad. So it's just an all-around great scale, and 90% of music out there, they're gonna be in the minor natural. That's what I think. Unless it's really like pop, then you know, probably 80% will be in the major. So if you're using FL Studio or any other DAW, you can pick a scale. You can choose a scale in the piano roll. So in FL Studio, just go scale highlighting, and you want to be on the minor natural. Or if you want to make something happy, you just go on the major Ionian. You pick minor natural, and right now we're in G. All the highlighted notes here, that's where you want to input your notes. And then you can come up with something like this. Or you can just like start putting notes like this on the highlighted parts, and it's gonna sound good no matter what. You know, even over this chord progression, because you're in the scale. So if you're starting out, go and pick your minor natural and start putting notes like this. And I'm telling you, it's just night and day difference. All right, so reason number 2 is that your sounds sound cheap. And it could be because maybe they are cheap, you know, you're using like free plugins. And I don't have anything against that, because you can definitely make cheap sounds sound way better. This is part of reason number 3. So I'm going to get to that after, how to get your like cheap plugins or one shots to sound even better. But the sound sources of these plugins compared to plugins that are expensive, those creators like spent years making expensive plugins. They're expensive for a reason, right? Because they spent a lot of money, resources, and brains into making those plugins. And you can definitely tell the difference. I'm going to show you right now. So let's say if you get the FL keys. It sounds okay, it's not bad, but compared to the Contact, I'm going to take off the effects. Compared to this one, the Contact Noir, which is actually my favorite piano plugin right now. It just sounds so realistic. It sounds so good because they actually used, I don't even know exactly how many mics, but like over 30 mics to record this piano in a crazy environmental studio, like a crazy space as well. They have close mics, they have far mics, and also the velocity, if you hear, when you're playing it softer, there's a different texture to the note than when you're playing it really loud, you know, because it's recorded like crazy. So Contact is great. I know it costs a lot of money, but yes, if you want your sound sources to be high quality, then I would for sure invest whenever you can into some plugins. My favorite plugins, I'm going to tell you right now, is Contact. I got the complete bundle, the standard edition or something, and it came with a bunch of things. You can get it in special when it's 50% sometimes. You have session strings too. I mean, the quality, you can just hear it. You can definitely do some crazy hip hop or trap beats with these violins. And if you start adding effects to these things, which we're gonna get into, man, the sounds are just ridiculous, you know. But because the sound sources are good, you know. Another classic plugin is Omnisphere. I know right now it's like probably 15 years old, so, and it's very expensive too. So you're probably debating if you even want to get that route. But me personally, for synthesizers, for sounds, for keyboards, it's kind of unmatched because they have a lot of different sound sources. Like if I go right here, like this is a very heavy in terms of gigabytes for your computer. So I had to put everything on the external drive because it's just massive. So they have like all the keyboards all the classic keyboards. They just have a lot of sounds. Crazy sounds. And if these presets, you feel like maybe you heard them before because they're so like old, some of them, what you can do is go in the effects section here, turn it off, and then start putting your own effects. And we're gonna get into that in my next point. There's also one extra plugin that I wanted to show you. And this one, I just started using it. It's not bad, but the sounds are cool. So these sounds are pretty good. There's some lead sounds too. This is called Pigments from Arturia. I actually bought the Analog Lab complete suite there, and I know they go very vintage with their synthesizing processes. They try to emulate the vintage analog gear, right? So the sounds for me, they just felt very thin because I'm used to Omnisphere and Contact, and it's very full. You know, there's a lot of character and depth and like low frequencies to every preset. And when I tried Analog Lab, it just sounded very cheap, you know? So I actually like brought it back. I gave it back and they reimbursed me. But I got Pigments for $50, which is like from Arturia too. And I'm very satisfied with this. I find the presets, they're like more heavy and more full. So definitely check this out. If you have $50, it's worth it, I would say. Again, this is what I use. I'm sure there's other plugins and synthesizers out there that maybe are even better than these ones, you know? So gotta check it out. So reason number 3 why your beats are not sounding great is that you're not using the right effects on your sound sources. So even if you're using free plugins or like cheap plugins, there's no problem. You can definitely make them sound better by adding effects to the sound sources. So I'm just gonna, for this example, I'm gonna use FL keys. I'm gonna put this on channel 5. And then I'm gonna show you a couple of effects plugins that I use in my chain. So right away, like it just sounds good, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what this is. So first is like the H910 dual harmonizer. Let's see what they have. This is great. This is crazy. Right away, it went from FL keys crazy. That's white echo. So this is, I think this one's kind of like, it costs maybe 50 to 80 bucks to be honest, but honestly, it's worth it. Again, you know, you might want to invest a bit of money. Then another thing that you can use is a delay plugin. I'm using the Replica XT. It came with a complete bundle. Right now I have a classic echo there. But you see, you can come up with come up with like crazy effects. So let's say if you add both of them, because that's the beauty of these DAWs, you know, you can add multiple effects and come up with like some crazy sounds. This is crazy. This is great. So I'm gonna add the Valhalla vintage verb over this. If I take off the first two plugins, take off everything. See where we are? Sounds very cheap. If I just add the Valhalla though, just the Valhalla, it's gonna make everything sound good right away. So honestly, yes, if I was you and I was about to pick one plugin to make everything sound better, even one-shots, you know, because you can get a lot of one-shots, even free kits out there with a lot of different sounds in there. And just add a reverb. Just add the Valhalla vintage verb, because some reverbs, they don't sound the best, but I think FL Studio has the convolver that you can use. That sounds not bad. All right, so let's keep going in these effects. So I have the Decimort. That's a high quality bit crusher. It's gonna make things sound kind of messed up and old. So now I have the Valhalla and this, and let me put the dual harmonizer. See what kind of sounds you can come up with just by layering 3 to 4 effects. Then let's see, I have this thing too. It's called the Super VHS from Baby Audio. Sounds sick, you know. One plugin that I love to put on everything after is some tape saturation. This is like AI tape from Baby Audio 2. You can put some noise, and then, and you know what, let's just go crazy and put everything. All of this started with FL keys, so you can see how far you can get any sound at this point. I want to show you like the same effect applied to like a one shot. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't want to spend a lot of money on the plugins. You can spend a bit of money on effects, and your sound is gonna go from here to here. But you know, if you spend money on both, then your sound is gonna go all the way up there. So reason number 4 now is that you're not using the right drums, the right type of drums for your style of music. What I mean by that is, if you're making trap music, then you have to use trap drums. If you're making hip hop music, you have to make hip hop, like you have to use hip hop boom bap drums. You know, if you're doing pop, you know, same thing, pop drums. It really depends what you want to go for. Like if you want to experiment and all that, that's another thing too, you know. Like let's say I run a type beat channel, all right, so I'm doing trap beats, I'm doing melodic trap beats. If I start like, which I did, I start using like kind of weird drums because I just want to be experimental, you know, people are just, it's not expected from that channel, you know. I really have to be intentional with what I put out, with the beats that I put out, which in a sense, yes, it's kind of whack, because then you're not truly free when it comes to music. But at the end of the day, if you want to make money with music, you want a lot of people to like the music that you're making, and they have a certain expectation when they come to your channel. You know, if they start hearing some, I don't know, some dancehall music, and they're supposed to hear like trap music, well, they're just gonna like skip the video, you know, and they're probably not gonna like it because it's not expected, you know. So unless you do it in subtle ways, and I think it's cool, you know, I think it's cool that your beats sound different, you know. Again, like you don't have to listen to me, like maybe the way to go is just make some crazy, some like super different stuff that you can't even put a style on. You can't even name it trap or hip hop or super this or that, and then, you know, create your own lane. Like that might even be a better better advice, to be honest with you. For what I'm doing now, I'm making trap beats, melodic trap beats for people to make rap songs and all that. These rappers out there in the world, they have a certain expectation. There's a certain sound that they like, that everyone likes, you know. And if I'm making something that's too weird, not a lot of people are gonna gravitate towards, and you know, my beats are not gonna sell, my views are not gonna go up, etc. So that's why I'm using like the classic trap sounds for myself, because I run a trap channel, you know, melodic trap channel. Go find your drum kits and make sure it's for the style of music that you want to put out there, you know. One cool plugin though, for the like main drums, let's say the kicks, the snares, the hi-hats, yes, I will go in my trap folders and the ones that I know, and I'm gonna pick the ones that people love, and you know, they're just like bangers. But whenever I want some like different type of textures and sound, I have this plugin called Atlas, and I think there's another plugin like this called XO. And basically they put your whole drum folders, like you know, like thousands and thousands of folders, they put it in like similar, like the closer they are together, the more similar they are. So then if you're looking for something different to put as a percussion or whatever, you know, if you want to do something different, if you want to pick some different sounds, you know, you have everything here. And picking folder by folder and switching folders, you have everything here. And honestly, you're gonna find sounds that you didn't know you had. And this is great. And you can just grab it, put it here, and then you have it. So I love this when I want my sounds to be a bit more random, when I'm adding extra percussions and stuff like that. All right, so last reason number 5 why your beats might throw people off is that you're creating and coming up with weird drum patterns. All right, drum patterns that are not expected. And again, it's cool, you know, it's cool to do different things because that's how you create new genres and styles and all that. But most of the time when you're creating new stuff, you know, it's gonna be weird. It might not become the new thing yet. Even me, I like dancehall music, you know. I might like this and could be good for a certain type of beat because I'm not doing this right now at this point in my life. I don't have a dancehall type beat channel. I have a melodic trap type beat channel, you know. So doing these different type of drum patterns, it's for sure gonna throw people off, and you just can't mix it with what you're doing, you know. Depends what you're doing it for. If you're just making music for fun, bro, do whatever you want. Like no one cares. Experiment, create some weird stuff until your style becomes the next thing. It's all good. But I'm saying if you're intentional with what you're putting out there, you have to do the drum patterns that people expect, and that's for me, it's that trap hip hop drum pattern. You know, let me add the music. I got one more reason, extra bonus reason why your beats sound mid, and that's because you're not using special effects. So recently I created my own sample store where I would sell my loop packs to whoever wants to work with me. I actually have a lot of free loops out there. I think I have over 200 free loops for you to just grab. So like that we can just collab, you know, and it's royalty free for minor releases, so you guys can just go crazy. But I have this pack, it's called Melodic Gods, and there's 69 high quality loops. This is my best work so far. When you get the loop, you can see it's D sharp minor at 145 BPM. All right, so this is the loop. I have some crazy loops in that pack, but the reason why your beats, your sounds are not there yet is because you're not using effects, like special effects like halftime and looperator. So I'm going to show you what you could do with these types of effects. Sounds crazy right away. I never did this on this loop. So all the loops that I have on there, they're all very melodic. So if you start putting effects like halftime and looperator, let me see with the 1.5, because I love this 1.5 here. You can definitely do a crazy little baby type beat or something. All right, so let's put looperator now. Looperator. And I like looperator because you can just pick any random preset. Yeah, let's say if I put halftime after this. Oof. Ooh, this is nice. The reverse presets. Man, I'm telling you, all the loops in that pack, you can go crazy. I didn't really add any effects like halftime and looperator, so they're perfect. They're perfect for this. The pack link in the description. So again, guys, you don't have to listen to everything that I just said. Just pick the parts, you know, pick the things that make sense for you. You can be very experimental and try new things because that's how new styles get created, you know. But at the same time, if you want to make a living, you probably want to choose a lane. When you choose that lane, certain things are expected.